It's another Sunday sit down, another Sunday closer to Christmas, should I say. I'm firmly looking forward to that. Can't wait to decorate this gaff. But it's another Sunday where you get to share your thoughts with me. We get to discuss. We get to have a conversation in which you cannot respond through the camera. So it's a conversation that I love where I get to do all the talking. A lot of things to discuss. Premier League, another great up and down Premier League, should I say. Let's discuss the main things. Two teams devouring their opponents. Yes, that's devour again. I know how you know that I like that word. The two teams which I talked about last week, a full clip designated towards why Liverpool and Chelsea are firmly contenders, as are Arsenal in this title race. And then those two of those three teams, Liverpool and Chelsea, demolished their opponents. Just absolute bam, down you go. No coming back. So we're going to discuss the first of those two, Liverpool. And bear with me as I look off screen a little bit because I've got some stats I want to pull up, Liverpool, for the first time since that 3-3 draw against Crystal Palace, where Stevie G slipped his way away from a Premier League medal. Yes, that draw against Crystal Palace is the last time Liverpool were top of the table. So, monumental day, shall we whisper it? Can they stay top? They definitely can, and that goes along with what I mentioned last week. Of the major contenders, I think they have one of the easiest schedules with the run-in up to Christmas. That doesn't mean that they're the favourites to win it. No, not by a long shot. But they have an easy enough run-in to the point where you can count on them to pick up close to enough points to keep them at the top, from what I have to say. And that's seeing what Arsenal again dropping points, Manchester City dropping points, Man United guaranteed to drop points. And it will just be Chelsea, I think, that will be really pushing them for that top spot. That doesn't mean I think that Man City are still not the favourites, because I think they will. I think Guardiola will have steadied that ship in the Premier League by that point. How ironic is it that you beat Barcelona and then you draw 1-1 with Middlesbrough? But not to defer away from the real talking point. The movement, Coutinho proving himself time and time again why he is one of the best number 10s in the Premier League at the moment. Two of the best number 10s are for those two teams, by far and away. Eden Hazard and Philip Coutinho. Jesus Christ, I will get to Hazard in a minute. He deserves a good 10-15 minutes on him, especially after the criticism he got last year. Still a missing person apparently. Well, he's first showed up this year. But Coutinho is the heartbeat of that team in the final third. Everything goes through him. He's just moving the ball around very well. He's intelligent, picks the right passes, and then players are thriving around him. Firmino's always in the right position. He's picking the right passes. A good quote, I can't remember who it was from, but I think they said that the most important thing about being a professional footballer, which sets you apart from the rest, is making the right decisions. It sounds simple, but it's so important. Kevin De Bruyne makes the right decisions. Lionel Messi, most of the time, makes the right decisions. All the time. I meant De Bruyne most of the time. Jesus, I put De Bruyne ahead of Messi. Jesus Christ. But Philip Coutinho in the Premier League, as of recent, has been making all the right decisions, and I'm absolutely thrilled for Liverpool fans who've been through their fair share of turmoil and they deserve some success. So things looking good for them. I don't think Watford really stood a chance at all from the get-go. They had a high tempo. They've got that high pressing football, which is so enjoyable to watch because you know at any given moment they can win the ball back and spring forward and attack that is just deadly and hard to defend against. Mane's getting in on the action. He scored. Wijnaldum even scored in this game. Sturridge was unlucky not to score, which Wijnaldum turned in. So they've got all these attacking players in their arsenal and they can't even fit them in. They have to adjust them to find place. And a win like this against a team who are sometimes a hard team, they're sometimes a banana peel, Watford, usually hard to break down. They just embarrassed them, and Liverpool were leaps and bounds ahead of them. But I want to get to Chelsea more so because they were up against a team who have been fighting for the top 5-6 early on in the season. Coleman has really steadied that ship. You want to talk about a ship that was just leaking holes all over the gaff? They had massive holes. They looked like Fellaini's head had just rampaged into the boat, and there was a massive hole last season, and Martinez had nothing to answer for. He had nothing to do. He was just like, what can I do at this point? Coleman comes in. He's known for building character amongst his players. He's known for building a team mentality that is up against adversity. He had his best players handpicked from him almost every year. Oh, you're doing good, Coleman? All right, I'll take him, and him. Yeah, you can be left with them. Deal with it. And he did deal with it. So he's been doing the same thing at Everton this season. But they were outclassed by a Chelsea team that are so in sync. Like Diego Costa and Hazard are like the same person at the moment, because whenever Diego Costa moves, Hazard's moving off him. He knows exactly where he is, and vice versa. Victor Moses is putting in a shift, so is Alonso on the sides. Matic in the middle of the park. Defensively, they look sound. David Luiz back there. Everything is moving right for them, but I just need to give extra credit to Eden Hazard. One-on-one, best player in the Premier League at the moment, taking on players. No one is stopping him. He's coming inside onto his left, scoring. Coming in onto his right, scoring from an acute angle. This is the Eden Hazard that we knew and love. He's low centre of gravity, that big arse that he's got. He's hard, he's sturdy, that sounds so bad. Big arse that he's got, he's hard, he's sturdy. Oh my god, they're going to have a field day in the comments. But he's looking so good. That doesn't help either. Jesus Christ, what is going on here? Diego Costa though, let's move to him. He's got those niggles again, but he's not reacting to it. Like someone fouled him on the edge of the box. Instead of complaining, he got up and he had a scissor kick that almost went in. It shows growth. He's growing. He's one of the most he's the most dangerous striker in the Premier League at the moment. Even though Zlatan got back to goal scoring ways, which I'll touch on briefly, this is mainly about Chelsea and Liverpool again. They look so good, man. They're definitely Premier League contenders at this point. So I hope that's enough on Chelsea fans. You feel like you're satisfied. Yeah, I've talked about them enough. Arsenal and Tottenham. It was a good game. Arsenal took the lead with Wimmer's own goal. I thought they were looking as if they were the better team. In the second half, Harry Kane, as much as he's hard to understand when he's trying to vocalise what he's saying, Tottenham are a lot easier to understand when Harry Kane plays up top. See what I did there? Because with Janssen coming in, they had no sort of footprint as to what they were doing in the game. Nothing. That performance they had at Wembley, I think it was against Bayer Leverkusen, oh my god, my eyes were bleeding. But at least in the second half, you get Harry Kane back in this team. There's a lot more chemistry up top, and they looked a lot better. And then they got that penalty kick, whether you believe it was one or not. Dembele fouled at the edge of the box. Don't think Koscielny should be leaving and planting his foot. There's three around him. My bet says he's going to get maybe a weak shot in. But he fouls him, and the penalty kick goes to Harry Kane, and he puts it in the back of the net. Fair result, some would say. Arsenal dropped some points. I don't think it's time to be saying, oh, it's November again. Arsenal dropping points. It's against a tough team, Tottenham. The rest of it, Manchester City losing a last-minute goal against Middlesbrough. You beat the best team in the world. You outplay them a lot of the time, and then you cannot beat Middlesbrough. That just sums up the Premier League. Is like it's so unpredictable. Usually Guardiola would go from destroying a team in the Champions League and then playing with Bayern Munich and then going on and winning another 4-5-0. But not the Premier League. It will not allow you to do that. It is a very beautiful thing, but at times it's a very harsh thing. And I think that Pep Guardiola is learning that lesson. And I'm not going to say that he's in turmoil. They're struggling in the league, there's no doubt. They're up and down. But he'll find his footing, I think, and he'll still be a good challenger. Now, to Manchester United. Good victory. 3-1. What happens when you give Wayne Rooney a boost of confidence and he states only a couple of days before he's going to wait out his contract to 2019? He puts in a Wayne Rooney of old performance. He didn't score, but my God was he involved in every single piece of play that had some sort of potential of being a goal. Zlatan got on the score sheet. Pogba scored a contender for goal this season already. Half volley, high, he's very athletic, drills it, and it rises like one of my drives on a golf shot. Bang, you better watch me on the golf course. Rises right into the top corner, and Manchester United fans are happy. But I will give Manchester United fans credit. From what I've seen on Twitter and the ones that I interact with, and you can interact with me at Francis_Maxwell, so I usually tweet back and get involved, is that they weren't getting caught up in it. It's Swansea. Arguably for me, next to Sunderland, who managed to get a victory this weekend. Good job, David boys. Are one of the worst teams in the league. They have some clear problems. I worry for Swansea. I do. So much space in between their backline and their midfield. Like that, Pogba was picking up the ball in there. Rooney was dropping deep, picking it up. Zlatan at times getting his shot away too early. Zlatan did well for his first goal. His second goal, a little bit of luck, but he still managed to get it in the back of the net. He's obviously, you rarely see Zlatan get so pumped up with a celebration, but he's been hearing the criticism. He's been hearing that he's been on his worst goal scoring run since he started playing, I believe, since his times at PSG. And I was on board with that. I think that he should have been dropped, but he wasn't, and he scored. So Mourinho made the right choice there and deserves the credit for it. I will not get ahead of ourselves here. Swansea City are a bad team at the moment, very bad. But good job, get the job done, get the 3 points. They hadn't won in 5 in the league, so it was a struggle. It was good to them to get back to winning ways. But here's the question for Manchester United fans. What are your thoughts on Jose Mourinho's post-match press conference? He clearly was throwing Luke Shaw, Chris Smalling under the bus, it seems. Luke Shaw told him before the game he wasn't in the right condition to play, therefore there was a makeshift back line of Darmian and Ashley Young at your fullbacks with Rojo in the middle. Daley Blind offered himself up to be on the bench, so Mourinho obviously appreciated that, but Smalling said he's not up to full fitness, and Mourinho then was referencing like past sports members that he's been friends with. He referenced that he's a good friend with a tennis player who remembers more often than not the times that he wasn't 100% fit rather than others. So he's kind of calling out the character of his players, and I'm not going to sit here and blame him. I think there is a clear, I've talked about this, clear character problem of Manchester United. Players often getting complacent, not giving enough for the jersey. That's why you have draws where you have 38 shots on target, because the team doesn't believe that they're confident enough to win it. They're not confident enough in each other or Manchester United. That jersey, I don't think, means what it used to mean to the Scholes, the Butts, the Keanes, the Ronaldos, Rooney still, all those players. I don't think that it means enough to many players in there. I think there's some, clearly, but there's some players out there that take it for granted, and I think that's why you might get instances like this where the manager's like, would you rip your tights? Put a band-aid on it, man, come on. And I think Mourinho, that's a very Ferguson thing as well. He wouldn't vocalise it as much, I don't think Fergie would. Mourinho's not one to hold his tongue for anyone. So I think that may be some sort of, I'm with them, but I'm not with them. Yeah, vocalise it to them, that's not acceptable. If you think they could contribute, tell them they've got to get their finger out and do it. But you're just giving the media more weapons now to come back at you and you lose the next game. Being like, remember that time you said there was turmoil in the camp? Bang. Now there is more turmoil, because we're going to hype on that. We're going to say that there's some conflict between you and the players, especially after last season with Mourinho, where the rats were forcing him out of Chelsea, and those rats seem to be playing pretty well. So I'm with Chelsea. I'm with Mourinho. I like him as a manager, but also it's a little bit complacent. All right, man. I've been going on for what? How long? 11 minutes. How are you guys even still here? I bet you haven't. Bet you fell asleep. Francis_Maxwell on Twitter. Francis Maxwell host on Instagram. Follow for a follow. Like for a like. All that good stuff. I'll catch you guys soon.